we have been on air and obviously not on our phones. We have just been alerted to the fact that Chris Medland has tweeted, Helmut Marko just told me an agreement has already been reached with all parties for Colton Herta to join if he is granted a super license by the FIA, and he expects a decision by Monza. Marko suggests that the agreement involves Gasly to Alpine, but it's if the super license is granted. Breaking news, Will Buxton.
I was going to say, the one thing that tells us is that Gasly's going to Alpine.
Absolutely.
That's now looking like a guarantee. The situation's interesting. The FIA have got to give him a super license, and at the moment he doesn't qualify for one. And we've been talking about it throughout the weekend. There's a video on F1's YouTube account in which Lawrence and I detail some of the ways in which he might be given a super license. The FIA has fudged it before when Yamamoto decided to test for Toro Rosso. He didn't actually qualify for a super license at the time, but the FIA gave him one because they determined that he was of a suitable quality that he would have qualified for one anyway. So there is precedent for them doing it. I think in the case of Colton Herta, it would be wonderful for Formula One, for America, for Colton most importantly, who's a real quality driver. Lando rates him incredibly highly. I mean, look, I've been saying this a long time. The super license point structure was never intended to stop quality drivers getting to Formula One. It was supposed to stop kids buying their way in that didn't have the quality. Colton has the quality. I'd love to see him here, but time will tell whether they manage to get him the super license or not.
There is resistance in the paddock, though. I know a number of team principals, indeed Stefano Domenicali, saying that things should be done by the book, Jolyon.
Oh, well, rules and regulation, everyone wants to follow them really very closely, and there was obviously we don't want to get into Abu Dhabi last year, but ever since then, really, there's been absolute regulation, not even just in the sport, but in terms of how drivers get there, how other procedures are done and everything, jewelry, all sorts of things that are happening now, and it's all by the book. And what precedent does it set if you can just actually say we're not going to follow it on this occasion because it makes sense to do that or whatever? So that's the argument against. I don't know how it will go, and it'll probably go on a little bit more because I'm sure Red Bull will push for it.
Rules are rules, obviously, and rules should be followed. The question is, are the rules the right rules? And if the rules aren't the right rules, then should the rules be changed to allow something that should be allowed rather, there was never the intention that the rules would stop this kind of thing from happening. So we wait and see whether he'll be allowed in. If he is, I think it'd be cracking for Formula One. It would be great for Colton Herta. And then it throws a spanner in the works with the Indy Car silly season as well, because there's suddenly a new seat open there.
Well, it's interesting.
Maybe Daniel Ricciardo would go. Who knows?
It'd be a good signing, I think. If they can get him in, I think it makes complete sense for Alpha Tauri, because he looks like a great talent. Everyone seems to rate him. American in the sport as well for the Red Bull group and Alpha Tauri. Two young drivers, which is kind of what that team's there for. It makes a lot of sense. They just need to clear it with the rules somehow.
Yeah. And if he doesn't get it, maybe there's space for Felipe Drugovich, who is absolutely smashing the Formula 2 Championship at the moment, and no one is talking about in terms of an F1 seat, which baffles me.
Yeah, he's got one hand on the trophy already, all but sewn up. I think he's 70 points clear with 78 left on the table. Brilliant racing in that class. I was saying it was interesting. I walked past the Red Bull motorhome today, and I saw Zach Brown deep in conversation with Helmut Marko.
Well, that is because probably Colton Herta at the moment has an agreement and a contract with McLaren. So there we go.
Exactly. There we go. It is all going on. Perhaps the silliest seasons of all, but hopefully things will become a little bit clearer in Monza next week, and that is where we are heading next. But what an unbelievable race we have seen today, and an unbelievable day if you are Dutch, if you're part of the Orange Army, and if you're a fan of Max Verstappen. 109 points. He is now clear of Charles Leclerc in the championship. We'll see you in Monza.